Craig, you've got Christian Petracca over the line. How relieved are you to get that doing up?
Oh no, we're really excited to bring Christian to the footy club. The dealings with Melbourne were really good over the period of time, so no, we're looking forward to him joining us.
And Jamarra as well. Describe the dealings with him over the last few weeks.
Yeah, so we've done a fair bit of due diligence with Jamarra. He's been up to the club a couple of times, performed a medical. Our high performance guys have spoken to him. Damien obviously talked to him about where he fits into the team. Look, we're looking forward to giving Jamarra a second chance. We've committed to him. He needs now to commit to the program and give himself every chance to continue his footy career.
And the dealings you've had with him, are you confident he'll be able to live up to his end of the bargain?
We'll put in a plan, first of all, for his living, which will be with Jared Harbrow in the long term. We've got a few things in place for him to try and get him back to condition so that he can actually complete a full pre-season. But as I said, we're excited to have him on board, but it's also it's up to Jamarra now to take the opportunity that we've given him.
Craig, is Jamarra guaranteed that he'll be ready to go by round 1 next year?
We don't sort of ask that of our players. I mean, we have high performance guys that make sure that guys are ready to go, so that'll be up to them.
Are you confident that he'll be fine to play a role next year of some sort?
I'm confident that he's got an opportunity to show that he can rebuild his career.
You paid a pretty high price for Petracca. Will you have enough points to match those early bids on Ewan and Patterson, I think?
Oh, look, this is only the first part of the trade period. I think we've shown over the last couple of years that we know how to trade picks to get points. So there's another phase of trade period coming up next week. There's also trading on the night. Holding a number of selections means that when bids are matched, things roll in. So yeah, we're comfortable with where we sit there.
The risk of being grumpy about Bailey Humphrey.
I'm not going to be grumpy about that, Pete. I was expecting that.
No, Bailey Humphrey, like obviously you met with clubs and it was just suggested that he wanted to go. What work do you have to do getting back?
Oh, look, Bailey's got to finish his break. He'll come back. Yeah, look, he might feel like it's going to be awkward, but it's not. I think it's just footy business these days that players will have a look around. I think, as I sort of said early on, it's felt like a long week to be honest, but I think early on this week just said that if it's going to be the norm that players that are in contract have a look around, I think that's got to be the norm that when clubs say no, it's no, and then we just get on with business after that. I think we've all got to accept it. We might not like it, but I think we have to accept it.
How close did you get to Josh Simpkin?
Well, not close enough in the end, was it? So, look, it was always a challenge. I mean, we had the mandate. We wanted to keep our future and our picks, and also they wanted to, get a high price for their leader and their captain. So it was always going to be a difficult challenge, this particular one. But it is what it is. It fell over, unfortunately. But yeah.
Did they come back on their requirements of 2 first rounders, or that?
No, there was nothing back at us after that. So we went a few times back at them, but as I said, they had a price that we weren't willing to pay, and it's as simple as trading, isn't it? Like anything in life. So, but that's okay. We move on, and as I said, we've got the picks, we've got the everything in play for the future, which is great for us as well. Gives us a bit of cap space, so it's good. We can we won't go fishing in the future, but we'll have enough space to do some good things for the club in the future, which is good.
Did you expect it was going to be good handing over a second round pick for a captain?
Yeah. Oh, look. We did offer more than that in the end, but it's okay. I won't go into details of that. All I know it was going to be difficult because of the initial grading of the player versus the captain of North Melbourne, which adds currency in their eyes, but probably not for us. We're picking the player, not the captain. So I think that's where probably the biggest gap in the negotiations fell over.
Did anyone come for Jordan to go at all?
This is still going. Well, I've got 10 minutes, so how long? 20 minutes? No, mate. I think you guys kept messaging me about that the whole trade period, but no, not a thing. I think it was one of the great furphies of the trade period, to be honest. But.
So would you been open to it? Had someone made the call?
No, we hadn't even considered it. So I had one talk with his manager. I kept ringing when I said I heard another rumour, and he just kept batting it away as well. So I know Jordan eventually wants to sign a longer term deal at the footy club, as most guys do when they hit 30. So we've talked about what that could look like in the future, but yeah, nothing in any detail.
know you've touched on this on radio, but just can you talk us through the decision not to nominate Tom McGinn for the draft?
Oh, Tom. Yeah. Well, I guess when we do our draft board, we know how many picks are going to be in the draft and where they sit. Like, we haven't even spoke to our other academy father-son boys either, but just given the sensitivities, given his father's a champion of our club, we wanted to hit it up as soon as we knew, to give the family the respect and Tom, I guess, the readiness for it. So that's why we chose to do it a bit earlier than normal.
Do you have any clarity on where Tom Mitchell and Mason Cox Lions and Westwood and trade periods are?
Yeah, now that it's over, we'll meet on that stuff as well now, and we'll get to speak to Tom and Mason on our list spots and where we're at, have some conversation with the coach, because he'll have a big input on that as well.
But a decision has been made?
No, it'll be sometime in the coming days. We'll arrange our meetings now that we know what's the result of the trade period. We'll get to that next.
Yeah, we sort of had a look at Jack Silvani and Charles Green still listed. Do you need to bolster that area with what's remaining?
Look, I think in the long term, our key backs will be an issue. But in the immediate short term, it wasn't. We saw Jack, I guess, as a player, gives him, he's only 27, that could play through the potential retirements in the next few years. But it's not panic stations. We've still got a really good defence in right now. We have Reid coming back from a knee, so we've got some options in the near future. But yeah, we definitely have to put some urgency around that in the next couple of seasons.
Would you have liked to have been just a bit more active in this trade period, yes, or do you look further to 2026 and photos?
Yeah, you can't be active in every trade period. I mean, we did so much last year, and even Schultz the year before. It was always going to be a bit of a consolidated year for us. So we're happy with that. We kind of knew we couldn't do everything. You can't do everything every year, otherwise you'll blow the cap and you'll get yourself in a lot of problems. So it was always going to be a year where we can consolidate, bring Jack Buller in, get a position of need in, which was really important, and then have really good assets to attack next season.
Is that just basically a philosophical thing or a strategic thing from the club to hang on to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, we might need them. So.
Sorry, just before I start, I'd just like to acknowledge what Christian, Petracca and Clayton Oliver have done for our football club over an extended period of time. They're both champions of our club, both had Hall of Fame careers already.
They've given our supporters and fans and staff and teammates wonderful memories, obviously culminating in the 2021 Premiership. They'll be forever Melbourne greats, and we wish them all the best for the future. And we're really grateful for what they've done to our club, and forever will be.
Just on Christian, firstly, we're pretty happy with the deal we ended up getting from the Suns for him.
Yeah, well, we are. Obviously, we said at the start we wouldn't have done a deal for Christian unless there was something that we thought improved our footy club. So with the addition of pick 7 and 8 this year, another future first round selection, so 3 first rounders for Christian is an outstanding result for the club. It gives us two first rounders this year, another 2 next year, so that's 8 first round selections over a 4-year period. With the looming arrival of Tasmania, we're going to be future proofed against the Tasmania Footy Club, so we're really wrapped with that result.
Is it disappointing to lose a full-time experience though for a future that doesn't seem like a lot?
Yeah, I understand that. We look at the overall period rather than each deal by itself, so I do get that question, but then we're able to bring in an All-Australian best and fairest winning club captain in Jack Steele for a future third. So we're absolutely pumped to have Jack at our footy club. He's an outstanding human, an outstanding player, an outstanding leader, and he's going to be an instant impact player for us, and we think he's got a lot of good footy left for him, and we're so excited to have Jack at our club.
Did that one come pretty late in the piece?
Yeah, as late as it could. He did a medical this morning, so yeah, that was late.
Another year on top for Jack, on top of his contract already.
Yep, it's a 3-year deal for Jack, which we're pumped. We presented, we think we want to extend Jack's career. We think he's got a heap of footy left in him. He's a super pro. We just spoke to him earlier. He can't be more excited about coming to our footy club and working under Stephen. We're a new club. We've got a new president coming in. We've got a new CEO. We've got a new coach. It's exciting times for the Demons.
Those picks 7 and 8, plans to take them into the draft?
I would have thought so. Yeah. Well, we can't trade them now. So yeah, we're going to pick 2 more great players. As I said, we've gone 2 first rounders. This will be the 3rd year in a row with 2 early inside 12 selections. So a young talent coming through is amazing, and all the decisions we've done today have got us closer to winning our next premiership.
And Bailey Humphrey, did those talks get anywhere in the end, or the Suns were just...
Not much after the walk around the town with Kingy, no. No, the Suns were resolute on not trading Bailey, and as I totally understand that. He's a terrific player, so good on him. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, you must be pretty stoked to get Clayton Oliver, premiership player, 4-time best and fairest, and for a future third as well.
Yeah, look, we're very happy. Clearly, we came into the trade period, without a priority on adding players, but when that presented on the eve of the trade period, it was something that we knew we had to try and pursue, and we were lucky enough that Clayton was in Sydney, so we could set up the meeting pretty early on in his process, and I think we came to the understanding, both us and him, that it was a mutually beneficial thing for it to happen, and once he selected us to be his club of choice, we were always confident we could get the deal done.
And no concerns over Clayton. Obviously, the last 2 years made it pretty challenging for him. No concerns there at all.
No, we're confident that our environment can bring out the best in him. We've obviously seen it with Jesse and Jake. Moving to Sydney can be a good change of scenery, and we think for someone like Clayton, it could be the same for him.
Was it a concern that the club was wanting to move on with 7 years left on his deal for so little in return?
Not really from our perspective. We were always confident that, we're here to improve our list, and we think Clayton can help build our list and improve our midfield. Their decision for wanting to move him on, that's their decision. But for us, in terms of acquiring a player that we think can help us, it was a pretty easy decision.
How do you feel heading into the draft now?
Yeah, look, we're confident. We've got pick 12. That's our priority now. We'll get to work on that group of players. We were able to move up the order from 14, which I think puts us in, what I believe is a slightly better band of options for us. But, now that trade's over, we let the dust settle and we can now get to work on what that group looks like.
Yeah, chance to chat to Leid, and he's obviously still overseas, but he's going to be staying at the club now, hasn't he?
Yeah, look, I think he's happy that, he's got a contract. I think as soon as the St Kilda stuff fell through, we got on the front foot to let him know if this is a chance for us to retain him, then we want to be able to do that. And in the end, from our point of view, we're happy to retain him. Obviously, from his point of view, he's going to be disappointed at the way it played out. But from our point of view, we're just happy we retain a player that, is an important part of our future. He's been building really well. He's had 4 years now. He's played 13 games this year, and, we feel like there's still a lot of growth for him.
Very busy trade period, Ross. What's the main takeaway from that?
Yeah, the overarching theme, and to be honest, I was in the background, so it's just an interim position. I prefer not to be here, really. But we can only unleash Gabriella once, so for the trade period. But the overarching, there's a number of mechanisms to improve your list. Clearly, trade period is an important one. And we come in to improve our list with 4 acquisitions. That, importantly, 2 free agents, which is a remarkable achievement for a Melbourne club. It hasn't had success for a little while, so kudos to our list management team. And then obviously Sam Flanders and Liam Ryan, so 4 bona fides. There's a significant move. I really want to acknowledge Jack Steele, captaincy and performance before I come to the club, and with me he's been a really strong leader. It just shows he's got the fire and the ballad and the courage to explore an opportunity where he gets to lead and stand up. So we wish him all the best. So at all times we're trying to balance the human side and the organisational objectives. So on the other side of the coin, it's the same with Rowan. So really wanted to retain Rowan, really value him. So we think we come out of it on the whole in a positive, but all of us, as the President said, we're all in a fight, but we're all really looking to improve and work hard. And it starts with me, starts with our coaches and the acquisitions and the list, so we're really looking forward to it.
Are you open to trading Rowan if the right deal came across?
Look, our starting position, and Rowan knows that, we wanted to keep Rowan. So we just, in the end, I think there's some negotiation late, really late. But in saying that, the Cats are professional. Go about it the right way. Mackie's, carries himself really well. It's business, it's not personal, and we all move on and we wake up tomorrow and we get to work.
How do you see that mix working between TDK and Rowan?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the mechanics of it. Clearly we've got a strategy. I've got some pretty smart coaches around me. Corey Enright's top of the pops with football IQ and, head of strategy. So we're really clear on that. I mean, Hawthorn went to 3 flags, playing 2 ruckmen with a strategy. So, and the game, lends itself to tools. You look at Brisbane, Darcy fought McInerney. their ability to compete in the air and the ruck was pretty pivotal, wasn't it? So, we'll have to work through that. But yeah, the overarching, this plan's been 3 years in the making. A lot of hard choices, a lot of loyal servants. That we had to make some decisions to bring youth in. So, look, talk's cheap. We just got to get to work here. But I feel, without being perfect, and clearly not, but we've executed to a high level, but now we need to transform that onto on-field and shift the dial. So,
Ross, how did that lead to the situation play out from your perspective?
yeah, no, as I said, nothing's perfect. But at the end of the day, as a GWS player, a deal needed to be done. They certainly weren't throwing him out the door or pushing him out. So, really thrilled that they saw him as we did. High calibre, extended him for 2 years. So, that again, the human side's always difficult, but it's worked out really well for him. So, in simple terms, I'm really pleased for that. Life's messy, football's messy, trade period's messy. I think there's stuff to be talked about outside of the Saints, but yeah, we move on. We're pretty pleased, but we're not breathing out because we've got a lot of work to go as a club. But I think our fans would think there's a lot of strategy being executed upon and working really hard. Thank you.
Was it a tough decision to not go through until he was here?
Well, I'm sort of not diving into that. I'm not going to go into specific trades because otherwise we'll be here all night. Like, you've got about 18 coaches to come through. Well, not, so yeah, without getting into that, there's always the known knowns, right? But there's a lot of information, even in trade period like game theory, you're trying to figure out stuff, get information. But there's a lot that goes on within the trades and decisions or non-decisions and non-trades. So it's not as simple as what's on the surface. There's a lot of threads to get a trade executed. Thanks, guys.
Do you think it'll have chances going forward with other players if Eggs was a possible deal?
Well, I think reneg's a strong term. I'm not sure that's exactly correct. As I said, I don't think you have all the information, but I'm not there to go through it all. But again, the human side, the care factor is strong. Players got a home. We move on. And I think everyone that went in to have a planned trade executed didn't get them all done. That's what I'd say. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Don, what happened with the Cal Ah Chee negotiations, if there were any?
Oh, there were some negotiations. We put some different options forward. The Crows put their options forward, but at the end of the day, we just couldn't meet on what we thought was fair value.
Is there a chance he stays at the club?
Oh, we would like to think so. He's certainly really loved. Our main aim's been trying to retain him the whole time. We put a lot of effort into that. We put a long-term deal to him. At the end of the journey, I don't think there was that much difference between the deals. So, look, we think he's a great player. We'd love to have him around. There's still time to work through that from here.
Obviously, there's an option for him to go in the pre-season draft. Was it a big decision for you to finalise and just accept it?
Oh, look, it was a significant decision for us as a club. We had sort of united buy-in around that, and at the end of the day, we decided that, and we were really clear from the start with his management, with Adelaide, and with Cal himself, that we needed to get the right compensation for us, and if that wasn't forthcoming, then we wouldn't be trading.
Was I think, 5-year deal for the Crows? Would you consider trying to? Is yours similar around that mark?
They're similar, and look, we'll go back and have a chat as a group as to what we want to do next.
Have you spoken to Cal at all?
Not yet. I've been in the room over there.
You imagine he's pretty disappointed.
Oh, look, I think he'll be disappointed. I'm disappointed for him, but at the end of the day, it was largely out of our control. We put a number of options to the Crows, a variety of options to them. It could have been achieved in multiple ways, pick slides, different years, that sort of stuff. But at the end of the day, they chose to put forward the offer that they chose, and it didn't meet our needs, and that's their right, and we all move on. Yes, we are. Well, we're comfortable with that. The opportunity cost wasn't particularly significant in terms of moving the needle with what we were offered compared to what we're letting go. Because at the end of the day, it needs to be useful to us, and if it's not, then yeah, we stand by what we've decided.
Thanks, guys.
Where did you get to with Rowan? Obviously,
Yeah.
what was your final offer?
There was a few offers in there. Yeah, look, to be fair, we had really good conversations with Stephen Silvani for the last 10 days. Probably a couple of days over the weekend we didn't talk, but in the end had good dialogue today, tonight, and yeah, there was a few different offers in there, Pete. Fair to say we had a fair crack at bringing him in, and it's up to the Saints. We always knew going into this period, you had Charlie Curnow, 4 years to go on contract, you got Rowan Marshall, 2 years to go on contract. There's every chance that they get held. Obviously Charlie happened. Unfortunately we weren't able to get Rowan in, but yeah, we had a bigger crack than I thought we were going to at midday today anyway.
Security was publicly saying they weren't going to trade him at all. Did you feel they were going to trade him for the right price and you just couldn't reach that, or they definitely?
There was a conversation day one. We offered up pick 19 straight away to him, and there was a talk around some future picks. And then from there, they seemed to pivot to not trading him, which he is their player. We understand that. That's the world we're in. So that was always a possibility of how it was going, and we knew that at the start of the trade period. So, you know, we went away and had a think about what that looked like for us, and tonight tabled some pretty attractive offers, I would have thought. But yeah, unfortunately for us it didn't happen, but we move on. We got the draft ahead of us. We've got our full suite of picks, and we look forward to seeing what we can do with it.
How strongly did Rowan communicate his desire to play for Geelong next year?
Yeah, I'm not going to talk for Rowan, but my understanding was that was strong, his appetite to get to us. So we would have liked to deliver that. Unfortunately, didn't happen, but yeah, he would know that we tried everything we can to try and bring him in.
We need to have a roughly deal by whatever opportunity there is from now.
No, we signed Reece Stanley last week. I think you would have seen that. Reece had a really good year for us. Obviously missed a month there late in the season with a hamstring, which was unfortunate for him in that timing. But yeah, as far as his year went, he was really strong. So we're looking forward to having him go again. He's really durable. Mark Blitzarves does a power of work for us, including playing a fair bit of the ruck position. So we've got those two guys who we know can do their work. We've got some flexibility with some key position stuff, and got some young guys who we're really excited to see where they get to in that position as well. So from that point of view, we're okay. Yeah, but we did make it clear that we did want to bring Rowan in. So having said that, we're okay to go and fill that position with what we have.
Was there another offer for Charlie aside from that publicised, I guess, 3 first rounders came out a couple of days ago?
No, that was it. Look, we wanted to stay in that conversation. We love him as a player, and would have loved to have done that as well. Can't do everything. And as it turned out, we didn't do either of those two boys. So, no, we wanted to have a crack when you get those two players wanting to play for your footy club. I think you owe it to everyone involved, including those guys, to try and make it happen. And we walk away tonight knowing that we did try and do that. So, like we said at the start, there's every chance that nothing happens given that they're contracted. But we walk away knowing that we did try and bring them in.
Clearly Sydney added Will Haley in towards the deal to help it get done. Whether there's some kind of club philosophy with you to not, I guess, push players into it, is that something that you sort of stand on, or how do you sort of approach that area?
Yeah, it's a good observation. Didn't want to. We're really excited about the group of players that we have, and they love the environment they get to work in every day, like the staff, and you know, exciting that we get Nathan Buckley to come and add to that as well for our guys. There's lots of ways how you can improve year to year. So we'll get to see that, but yeah, didn't want to get any of our guys that we really rate and understand that they have a great working environment that they come to every day. So we didn't want to disrupt that. It doesn't mean that you know, we need to keep working on that, but we do hold that view that it is important to us.
Buku Khamis ended up not being done. What was the talks and progress on that?
Yeah, look, it's disappointing for Buku that we couldn't get something done. Unfortunately, the deal that was tabled to us gave us a pick that we just wouldn't have used this year. So Buku's a much-loved member of the Western Bulldogs family, come through the NGA, offers us versatility at either end of the ground as well as in the ruck. And over the last 2 years, he's played the 16th most games for the club. So we're really excited to have Buku back. We know him as a person. He's got an infectious personality. Our group will wrap their arms around him and welcome him back through the doors day one of pre-season for a great year in 26.
What was that pick that you weren't going to use?
43.
And obviously you guys have been keen to keep him. That's been the public stance from the start. How's he going to feel about going back into the club after trying to get out of it?
Oh, as I said, Buku's someone we've known for a really, really long time, having come through the NGA. He's a wonderful human, and our group is a great group who are really connected to Buku, and we've got no doubt that
by the middle of day one, they'll have wrapped their arms around him and they'll have welcomed him back.
Thank you. I don't have a question for Justin or Ben, but Don Ambrogio said that he thinks there's every chance that Cal Ah Chee stays at Brisbane. Could either of you address that?
Zero chance, Tom.
So you'll be definitely going to Adelaide?
He's leaving. He's going to Adelaide. He's committed to get to the Adelaide Footy Club. Adelaide used the best endeavours to facilitate a trade. Wasn't Brisbane's liking, so the only avenue for Cal to get there is through the pre-season draft, and that's what he'll do.
Reid, did you let him down by not getting this deal done? Like he's wanted to come here a couple of months?
I don't think we let him down. We put our best foot forward. We think it was a fair and reasonable deal, which I think's obviously out there publicly already. So we're disappointed for Cal and his family, but he's committed to us. We're committed to him. So unfortunately, we're just going to have to take the long route now. So certainly disappointed for him, but yeah, that's the way it goes.
So are you disappointed at Brisbane?
I'm disappointed in Brisbane. Yeah, you're talking about a 28-year-old dual premiership player. He's married to Laura. He's got a 4-year-old son, Ivor, a 1-year-old daughter, Daisy. We've told them for months what we wanted to do, and we've tried to go through the front door and be as transparent as possible, and the deal hasn't been done. So we'll pick up the player welfare pieces after this, and then obviously concentrate on getting into Adelaide.
It's a long way to get through the draft to Adelaide. I'm confident about that.
We're very committed to see that through.
So do you feel the Lions being unreasonable in the end?
Oh, look, at the end of the day, the deal wasn't done, so we worked really hard over the last fortnight and even before that to get something done. We're really clear a round one pick wasn't going to be involved in this. Again, yep, disappointed for Cal, but we could stay committed to one another through this.
The Lions say that this could have been done without a round one pick, so what do you say to that?
Pretty confident it was going to be a round one pick, so again, it wasn't done, so we need to move forward now.
Did you have any eyes on any other targets across the trade period, Justin?
We had many conversations leading in and during, but yeah, the end result was really positive. You know, for us, we've still got our round one draft pick. You know, we brought Finbar in today. We had some real depth through the ruck and forward of the ball, and obviously got all our future stock as well. And we've got Indy Cotton coming through as a Cap B, so still a really positive period. But unfortunately, there's another 5 more weeks to work through what that looks like for us.
Do you have a word to Ben about Messiah in a couple of years? I know Port's been on the record the last couple of weeks as well, talking about the plan to get him and save some money for him.
Look, I think he's pretty happy where he is at the moment. We'll pick that up in 2 years' time.
In terms of Finbar, had you on him for a little while, is that right?
Yeah, we've seen his development obviously through North Melbourne, through the VFL and some of his AFL forms, so we think it's a good opportunity for him. He's got some links to Adelaide as well, you know, through his father and through basketball, so we think there's some real upside in him as well, so looking forward to getting him into the club and giving him the opportunity.
Does that possibly mean Chris Burgess misses out on the spot?
Look, we're sitting down and having list management next week, so work through that, you know, at the right time.
Ben, clearly you're disappointed in Brisbane. How do you take that up with them? What are your discussions with them?
I haven't thought that far ahead, to be honest. I'm just going to worry about player welfare over the coming days, and then we'll come up and think about all of those sort of things.
Thanks, guys.
How closer to get to getting Zach over the line?
Oh, there was some great dialogue over the last couple of days, but look, I mean, you'd have to ask Essendon that. We put our best foot forward with the deal that we thought was a very strong and reasonable deal, and unfortunately didn't get done.
How disappointed are you for Zach and his whole club that it couldn't get done?
Yeah, definitely disappointed. So I mean, it's only been half an hour since the trade period's finished, and when you go into that with a priority to get a player like Zach, to not have it happen, yeah, you're disappointed. But then again, we made some moves today to make sure that we were in a healthy position, that if it didn't happen overall, that we've got 2 first-round picks, a top 10 pick, and another first-round pick. So disappointed to obviously not get that done.
Mark, did you ever consider handing over 4 first-round picks?
No, look, I think the details of the actual last offers and those sort of things, I don't know if they're out at the moment, but look, we think that our offer at the end was a very strong and very reasonable offer.
Can you tell us what that was?
No, I won't go into detail at this point in time. I'm sure it will come out over due course. With,
might as well go on the record then.
Nah, that's all right. It won't be from me. But really, our deal was very strong. We thought from overall with our chats the last couple of days, and that's what we wanted to do, put our best foot forward and make some moves to improve the offers that we had spoken to Essendon about over the last couple of days. But in the end, you've got to respect their position as a contracted player, and look, in the end, it didn't get done.
How tense were things towards the end? Watching the video, watching in the room, it seemed pretty tense in there when Tom was in there late.
Yeah, I think, again, it just comes back to disappointment. I don't know, it gets tense every now and then. I think we've been through this a number of years now, especially on the last days that you go through different emotions. Probably no different to what it has been over the last few years of what we have. But yeah, disappointment's probably the one that comes to the end. But you look forward and you move on, and we put ourselves in a great position for the draft coming up.
What was their sticking point? They desperately wanted another first round pick. Is that what they were? Do you think they were willing to do a deal, or do you think they were resolute they wouldn't do it?
They've been pretty resolute from the get-go. In the end, obviously externally as well, but you'd have to go back. I think with the deals that we put forward and that we received one at the end, we weren't going to put our club in that position. That's not what we're here to do. We don't want to put our club in a position where you don't have any more draft picks, for the future, and we've got to take that into account, especially with the players coming in. So we had parameters with our deals. Again, strong deals we thought for the last couple of days, and unfortunately didn't get done.
Mark, 31 in 12 months' time, do you commit to having another go?
It's been half an hour since the trade period's finished, so what we have done is put ourselves in a great position for this year's draft, but then to go again next year. We want to be aggressive. We haven't made a secret out of we want to go after those high-end talented players, and that'll happen again. Whether it's next year, year after, we'll continue that course.
What sort of discussions you had with Zach late in the day? Have you spoken to him since this didn't go through?
Not personally. Obviously, people from our club will reach out to Zach. Again, it's only just finished from there, but reach out to Zach from there and see where that goes.
What about the conversations with Henry Husway? Like, he was offered up. Like, how do they go with him?
Yeah, we were pretty open with Henry and his management group, and obviously if someone like Zach came in a similar position, he was open to having a look at it as well. So we were pretty open as a footy club overall, as was Henry and his management group.
Zach's name's been dragged in the headlines in the last month or so. Do you feel a level of guilt that he's got to go back to Essendon? He couldn't get the deal done?
Oh, look, I think in this you want to explore those high-end talent and obviously take meetings when it's mutually explored from there, and we're not going to shy away from exploring from those high-end talented players. Yeah, it did play out a fair bit. In there, it's probably got tense with Zach at times, and you do feel for a player in that position. And overall, it is disappointment to not get a player like that in.
Essendon's been resolute the whole way through. They wouldn't even entertain a deal. Do you feel that there was oxygen left in this with 10-15 minutes left?
Yeah, definitely. Look, there were chats over the last couple of days. And today there were some offers put forward, and they had spoken about some other things as well. So they were engaging in communication. So definitely we thought there was life there in communication, and then a deal at the end.
Disappointing did walk away with some more experienced players coming through the door?
Just in the overall trade period? Well, what we have done is that we think we've got a pretty strong core group of our players, and then some young guys coming through. I mean, you look at a team that made the prelim final. We didn't have Will Day play. We think we've got Cam McKenzie who's really developing nicely. We saw Ward develop really nicely in his fourth year, and Cam's coming into his fourth year next year. So, and then potentially add 2 more first-round draft picks. We think we're in a very strong position, even though we haven't been able to get Zach across the line.
Chris, take us through that last 10-15 minutes. Did you feel like it was always going to happen, or was there a sense that it was going to fall over?
Yeah, it was probably in the balance. It was probably in the balance late. We probably didn't get a really good read on whether it was going to be alive or fall over. I mean, both clubs negotiated pretty hard. Both clubs had really firm walk-away points, I think, in the end of the day, and we found a level ground that both clubs were happy with. But again, we walk away with a really good player, and a player we're really excited about. But we also acknowledge Will and Ollie's contribution to our footy club, and how important they are for our footy club and have been for our footy club both on and off the field, and I just want to address that, and we wish them well as Carlton players going forward.
Given how tense it was in the last 15 minutes, someone always blinked. Do you feel like it was you to blink, given from the offer you put forward yesterday there are now 3 first-round picks plus a pretty quality player attached to the deal?
Yeah, that was probably the sticking point in the end, is that extra first-rounder, but in the end we were comfortable if we were able to get some second-round picks back in the deal, and that's what we ended up doing.
How much influence is the salary cap pressures
Yeah, it's all part of it. Definitely, you're looking at sort of a range of different things when you go through a negotiation, and that's list management in general. I think we're always looking at it from a short-term and long-term lens. both what you can do on field, what your list looks like, what your TPP position might be, and this deal is probably no different to that.
Will you smooth out his contract with an extra year?
He's got 5 years on the table. So we're still sort of working through the nuances of what it looks like, but we'll get that through. Yep.
I think Robbie said it was about 7.27. He thought the first round got thrown into it. Was it that late?
Oh, look, they were after the third first rounder from a fair way out. And it was probably more just what we were getting back. We always needed to get something back in the deal, and we acknowledge, the 2027 first rounder. We don't know what that looks like. We know there's some concessions there for Tassie, but we feel like hopefully the gap between their second and our first isn't too great, and we take that risk on, and we move forward with a good player through the doors.
What was your consideration in trying to convince Will Hayward and Collingwood's obviously a separate deal, but to take their offer in the future elsewhere?
Yeah, it was a very, very tricky conversation and a delicate one and a complex one, which I suppose walking into this week we knew the complexities that lie within this negotiation, and we were, as I said at the start of the week, we were pretty pragmatic about Carlton wanting a player in this deal, and they said that, and they said that right from the start. So look, those conversations are difficult. I think the natural one was that Will and Ollie were both courted by Carlton at some point last year in their free agency, so that probably made it a touch easier for them to get their heads around maybe what that might look like. They'd already, obviously, Will had already met Vossi last year through that free agency period, so it doesn't make it any easier, but those conversations were had, and we ended up reaching an agreement.
You missed the finals this year, and you've just given up 3 first-round picks. Is it fair to say your chips in and you think you're going to make a fair jump next year?
Oh yeah, I mean, whenever you do a deal like this, you're looking at you're weighing all those sorts of things up. We feel like it's not so much chips in. I can understand why you'd say that, but we also feel like we've got enough capital this year in the draft to be able to at least attack some part of that draft. We like who we brought in last year from the draft as well, and we feel like when we were healthy this year, we challenged some of the better teams. So we feel like we're certainly good enough to challenge again, and we'll see how we go.
You've got players away together. Some are being told that they're moving on, others being told that they're moving on. Have you got to repair some relationships with some of your own players?
No, I don't think that's the case. I mean, you're right. The challenges only get greater and more complex with the travel element and people not being in the country, let alone the state. But in terms of that, I think the boys are all comfortable where it's at. I mean, there was a few boys that were courted by other clubs, but it was pretty emphatic that they wanted to stay at the footy club. And as I said at the start of the week, that was always going to be complex for us because all our players were contracted and really happy in Sydney. So we had to navigate through that, and we did eventually, and we got the player in.
Geelong obviously didn't get Charlie, but Andy Mackey stood there and said, like, our club doesn't want to push players towards the door as a matter of speaking. What's your philosophy on that? Obviously, you help some players get to come and get this done.
Yeah, I suppose it's a balance, and clearly, as I said, we're really empathetic towards Will and Ollie in this, and they've been huge for our footy club over the journey for a long time. So these decisions are never easy, but we're trying to make the best decisions for our footy club in totality, and that's what we've done.
Was James Robot ever going to be traded?
No, I understand. I think at this time of year, clubs are somewhat opportunistic with their ways to jump in and try and help facilitate a deal, whether it's with us or with Carlton or whatever it may be. But James made it really, really clear, and so did his management, that he didn't want to go anywhere, and we're pumped that he's staying for another 3 years.
You said at the start it's going to be something special for you to do, Charlie. Is that obviously what you see out of this?
Yeah, well, we're obviously looking for the best possible deal if we were going to do it, and with half an hour to go, I didn't think it was going to get done, and then Sydney came to the party with something that we had been asking for over the last 24 hours. But we're really pleased. We feel like 3 first-round picks in Will Hayward, that's effectively 4. It gives us great flexibility into the future, thinking that we've got, picks to potentially match bids on players that we've got coming through over the next couple of years. We've got an extreme amount of flexibility in the lead up to Tasmania coming into the competition, and we felt that now was the right time to do that deal. Thanks very much, everyone. Yeah.
How close did you think it was?
No, with 15, 20 minutes to go, I thought it wasn't going to happen. In fact, we were talking about who needed to call Charlie to make sure that he knew that he was coming back. So from that perspective, it legitimately just got done with whatever it was, 7 or 8 minutes to go.
And you would have done it if it wasn't for that first round to get thrown in?
No, we were really clear on that late in the day today that needed to be part of the deal, and if it wasn't, the deal wasn't going to happen. So Sydney had that information for a decent period of time, and I'm happy that now the deal has been done, but that was a key part of what we wanted in order to make sure that the club does have that flexibility into the future.
Well, obviously, Charlie's a fan favourite, great player with the Blues. Like, what's your rationale to actually making a deal? Was it a difficult conclusion to come to think we've got him coming?
Well, I think firstly, with where our club is at right now, that it's important that we have players who want to play for Carlton into the future, and I don't need to talk for Charlie, but Charlie had made it clear to our club that he didn't want to be part of the club's future, and so on that basis, you look at that firstly as the key thing. I mean, it's not like our club performed that well in 2025 that we can not think about different ways to do things into the future. I accept that Charlie has been a big figure in our club for a long period of time, and the club should thank Charlie for what his contribution has been, but we feel that the time is right to make sure that we're looking for the future of our club as well, and having a player who doesn't want to be at your club is an interesting thing to actually manage.
What comfort did it give you, having already brought in Ben Ainsworth, that you're adding Will Hayward to people who can sort of offset some of the goals that walk out the club?
That was definitely a discussion. I mean, when you start to think about Ainsworth, Florent, Hayward, Chesser, players who we believe can have an impact on what our squad looks like in 2026, and definitely adds depth in an area that Carlton hasn't had. We think that on balance that our team should be better than what it was this year. When you start to think about adding depth across the ground, that's important. It's no point having a group of players who are one type and don't give the coaches flexibility. As I say, we think we've done that with the players who are coming in this year, and we also think that we've given ourselves a good amount of flexibility for the future.
Given Charlie happened so late, did you leave yourself with too little runway to get the Buku Khamis deal done?
Yeah, we tried really hard to get the Buku deal done. It was clear that the Bulldogs weren't really interested in anything that we could offer up. So from that perspective, I'm disappointed that we weren't able to get that done, but I definitely feel like we put our best foot forward and absolutely tried to get him in the door.
We look for some extra key defensive assistance with Jack out the door and O'Farrell injured.
Yeah, I think that we'll sit down now and take stock of what we need. We've obviously got Harradine coming into the club, but I think it's fair to say that we'll sit back now and take the appropriate amount of time and think about who can plug whatever gaps that we think we have. As I say, I don't think it's appropriate for me to go through those in depth right now, but we'll use all of the opportunities that we've got ahead. We've got a draft coming up. We've got the ability from a list spot perspective to bring some players in and have a look from a training perspective, and we'll think about that in the next few weeks.
And you're frustrated you've just completed a trade period and you've got a highly touted kid coming in next year, you still don't know the rules, and did that play a part in why you were so keen for the extra first round pick?
Well, it had to. And that's a challenge that I guess the AFL have, and for us, it's passed on to us. If the rules aren't clear, all we can do right now is provide ourselves with the greatest amount of flexibility, depending on what the rules are. Now, I think the AFL took a step, a couple of weeks ago in announcing what they did. It would have been nice to have a greater sense of what the future is going to look like, but you can only make decisions in this game based on the information that you've got at hand, and for us, as I say, having that flexibility was really important, and we think we've left ourselves in a fantastic position for the future.
Do you think the salary cap, obviously Charlie, Tom McKenzie goes out, I know it's early, but gives you an opportunity to launch for some of those. You've got Sanders to sign up as well potentially to launch for some of those free agents?
Well, I think right now, our absolute aim, Pete, is to make sure that we keep the players that we want to keep into the future, that that want to be at our club. We've got flexibility, and there are so many mechanisms now for us to be thinking about what we want to do into the future. As I say, we've got 2 highly talented players who we know have the capacity to come into our club, and we wanted to make sure that we leave this period with a clear ability to get those players in, and then we'll think about what the future looks like from there.
Well, Matt, you stood here 10 days ago and said you wouldn't entertain any offers for Zach, but it feels like 15 minutes ago you were still talking about it. What changed from your side?
Yeah, well, I did state last week that obviously we didn't really want to hear offers. An offer lobbed yesterday in our inbox. So yeah, with 36 hours to go in the trade period, it was quite late. But out of respect for Zach, we did have conversations. We did have dialogue with Tom and Hawthorn. But we've been really clear all along that Zach's a required player. He's an important part of what we're doing. We believe in what we're doing. We believe we've got really good young kids coming through. We believe in our core group that we've got. We need to get more of that core group out on the park. So we've been really strong on that from the start.
How do you amend it now with Zach? He's been pretty open that he doesn't want to beat your footy club. How do you go about mending that relationship?
Well, for us, we've kept our players in the loop the whole time, our staff. Zach is really well liked. The players want him back. They want him playing with them. So Zach understands that. He's a professional, and yeah, we're looking forward to getting him back over summer.
Have you spoken to him since this has happened?
No, I haven't. No.
Do you know whether the club's reached out?
I'm not sure about that.
Zach spoke to Andrew Welsh today, pleading his case for to let him go. Did Andrew talk to you about that afterwards? And was there any wavering of the club's view of, for even emotional reasons, that letting him go?
No, Andrew and Zach have built a very good relationship, and we've been clear with Zach the whole way through that he's a required player. He's a really important piece of what we're doing, the strategy that we've got, and that, yeah, we love him and we want to keep him.
How damaging for the club to have your leader say, I don't want to be in the place?
Well, it's not ideal. We've said, since the start of last week and even further back with other club representatives, that it's not ideal. It's been uncomfortable. We didn't want to be in this situation, but you need to try and look at the positives in it as well, and look for the opportunities to galvanise and unite. So yeah, there's no doubt it's not ideal, and we didn't want to go through this, but we've been really clear that he's valued. We want him playing at the Essendon Football Club, and we look forward to him continuing to do that.
Did you simply need a bigger offer from Hawthorn? Was that the sticking point at the end, or were you just resolute, we're definitely not doing anything here?
Well, as I said, out of respect to Zach, we were open to discussions. We communicated with Hawthorn, we communicated with Tom. We were strong. Our number one priority and our only priority was to keep Zach at the football club. We were really, really clear on that.
And day one of pre-season training, you think everything won't be awkward in that sense? Is that something you get on the front foot now and sit down with Zach in the coming days?
Well, again, you talk to the players and they say, day one might be a little bit awkward. That's natural, but we'll move on really quickly because we want him playing with us. We want him beside us. He's an inspirational player. So no, they're comfortable that we'll be able to move on.
Are you prepared for the possibility that this actually destabilises the club in 2026 if things go wrong?
No, we're confident that we'll all work together. We'll continue to have open dialogue. As I said, he's built a really good relationship with Welshie. He's well liked. We're comfortable to work through it. And as I said, we'll just keep trying to find ways to make positives of this situation.
What did you weigh up the possibility of being in 12 months' time, going through the same process if he wants out again?
Well,
being worth less, presumably, in 12 months' time.
Yeah, I think the important thing is that we believe in what we're doing and we believe in our young kids and our core group coming through. So, we're just keen to get to work and to keep improving and back ourselves in.
What are your thoughts on the captaincy?
As I said last week, and nothing's changed from that, but there's a process that will need to be undertaken over the summer, and nothing will change. The process will decide who's the captain, and players and staff members have a say in that.
Do you have to rebuild, or do you have to mend bridges with Zach, but also with Tom Troro? Tom was very actively advocating for this trade to go through. He seemed quite animated from what we could see on the video towards the end. But do you have, is there a relationship there that has to be worked on? Is it prominent player agent?
I've known Tom for a long time. I was managed by his company when I was a player, so that relationship goes back a long way. I respect Tom. I understand he's got a job to do, and he's acting in the best interests of his clients. So I'd like to think we kept everything respectful and professional, and the fact that we listened, we were open to listening, shows that we have got that relationship.
How tense did it get there in the last few minutes? How forward did it get in that room?
It's a big thing for the football club. There's no doubt. 6-time Crichton medalist. It's a big occasion, but we felt like we worked through it, and we kept chatting, and that's where it ended up.
You said that Luton offers, out of respect to Zach, they wanted their first offer with 36 hours to go. If that was 3, 4, 5 days earlier, would you have been in a different position? Would you have had more time to be able to do something like Zach?
Well, our position wouldn't have changed, that he's the number one priority, but there wasn't much flexibility in terms of time to talk through things and hear and have those discussions. No, I don't think it would have changed the result.
Do you think Hawthorn left their run too late though? Would it not have been easier to lodge an offer 5 or 6 days ago?
Well, that's probably for them to come. I don't think it would have changed the result though.